What up, everybody? This your boy Theo Pence here. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any Run Your Race content. What up, everybody? This your boy Theo Pence here with another episode of Run Your Race with my boy AJ Richardson.
Good morning, beautiful people.
Even though it's nighttime, he's still doing that shit. People, we have a very special guest today. As y'all all know, our guy, Dribble2Much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's get it, man.
Prime-time trainer, big-time trainer. As y'all know, if y'all see Chris Paul work out before games, if you see Demar DeRozan work out before games, the black and yellow basketball, the weighted basketball they use to pregame, that's my guy right here.
Yes,
Let's get it.
Dribble2Much. Handle life.
Let's go. I love it, man. I appreciate being here. Man, it's all love. I want to be on the hottest podcast in the world, so this is why I'm here.
I love it.
Let's
I
get
love
it.
it. I love it. I love it. I love the energy. I love the energy. This is what we do here. This is what we do here.
We lock up.
For sure. That's a fact. That's a fact. So, hey, we like to let our guests tell their story. We don't like to come up with all types of stuff and us tell everything. We want you to start it off. Of course, you were a hooper from day one. When did you start playing? Where you from? All that. Just run us down the memory lane.
Let's get it. Man, I'm from Boynton Beach, Florida. My mom and dad is Haitian, and they're immigrants. And when they came here, like we moved into some low income housing. And, grew up through like the community center, like playing basketball. But I really got in trouble a lot when I was young because I was Haitian. And at the time, back in the days, like being a Haitian, we used to get picked on a lot just because we were a little bit darker than everybody else. Or like, like my mom ain't really like buying like the newest J's and stuff like that. So, it was kind of like, like, had to battle that, like just being Haitian and being a different, culture growing up in my neighborhood. And then, that's what helped me like create toughness though, because I met other people that, other Haitians that been around the neighborhood for a while and grew up or experienced different things on how to protect themselves. And they, I started hanging with those guys, how it is, like they showing me how to protect myself. So, but then I quickly through the whole middle school and high school was a really rough time for my family because of the people I was hanging around. And like I got put in like detention centers or family homes, just, I got put on house arrest and stuff like that, just like hanging around the wrong crew and just like trying to get all the popular stuff so the kids could stop like, picking on me, like just to get some shoes or something like that, and I even wrote a whole life story on it with on a song called Handle Life Story with Dame Lillard. You'll be able to like hear the lyrics and like everything I'm about to explain to you. But so then just growing up in that like environment, I had to find something to not go to jail or get shot or dead. You know what I mean? Because like,
for sure.
like I was in it, but I don't know if I was like really with it because my mom was really a praying woman and like always in church and always like had that back end like to be able to speak to me, and my other friends were more like lost, kind of like just like rebels. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so like I opt out once they, put me in a situation where I got to do the right thing or this is it. And they put me in a basketball program at the community center. And, when I got in there, I started like seeing kids. I wasn't really like active, but I just started seeing like kids with like crazy handles at the like community center, like breaking dudes off.
Yeah.
And then I was like interested in it, and they threw me in there, and then that's when it all started. When I grabbed that ball and I stopped hanging around, like my other crew, and started hanging around like more people that were in the community and like that were about teamwork and showing me a different like path than where I was headed.
How hard was that?
What age? Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to say like, what age was that when you got on house arrest, but then decided like, oh, basketball is my scapegoat?
Man, I was like Man, I was on house arrest like around 17, but I was hooping at the same time. Like I was killing. Like I didn't practice. Like honestly, I wished I had this kind of attitude before, when I was in
Yeah.
college. Cause I feel like
Yeah.
there's some things like about you as a person, you gotta keep some kind of like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
keep it flowing and don't take it as so serious.
Yeah.
But when I got tapped into basketball, I took it so serious. And I was about 17 when I was on house arrest, and I was still hooping and killing for high school and stuff like that, and playing with the band on, with the sock and like everything like that. And I was like around 17, 18. And then my last draw was like an incident happened, and we was in court, and I had a chance to go to prep school. So like because I didn't have the grades, but my coach was looking out for me. Like, I can get you in Georgia. Like, get out of here. Like, just get out of here and tell the people in court that you're going to play ball and get good grades. Like, because they wasn't going to give me no second chance. That's the only thing I could lean on and see if it could help me out. Or I was doing some time,
Yeah.
And then at 18, at that time, they took 18 like you was a grown man. They was trying to hit you still, like at 18. So I just told them that. Then my coach connected me with a Sound Doctrine Christian Academy, and I transferred over there. And then that's when like my eyes kind of opened up, where even though I was like loving basketball back in my neighborhood and loving the environment of competing and being with friends, but when I looked at like when I went to Georgia, like in the country, LaGrange, Georgia, I just started seeing like other hoopers when I played against them. They getting like the Nike sponsorship, and they nice, and people talking about them, and like kids on my team like, oh, he nice, you know what I mean? And I was like, I started getting more into that. Like, I want to be like talked about like that. So I started working on my game every single day in prep school, and I kind of cut off all of my friends from back home, and I just kind of erased everything that was in my mind from back home, and I try to stay like right there where I was in prep school.
How hard was that transition from, because I think a lot of people can attest to that. Like, it's not easy cutting off your friends that you know for so long, that you've been doing the same thing over and over again. And it's like you become a creature of habit. So how hard was that to transition from what you were doing that was leading you down the wrong path, and to being like, all right,
let me straighten up.
Let me straighten the hell up.
Yeah.
It's that time. Like when they put you in, and you gotta wait for the court day. Like, it might be even a simple little charge, but like you in there, you still playing like that guessing game. And like my mom was telling me, like, do you want somebody to have control to let you know if you're gonna be free or not all the time like that? Like when I was going back and forth, like it was like a gambling game. And I wasn't, some people that's how they get their high off. Like, almost getting away. I ain't like that game.
Yeah. That's real though. That is real.
I ain't like that game. I ain't like that game. And then I was just like, it's either I cut off these guys, and I loved basketball a lot. I like grew a big passion for it because I was spending more time playing basketball. And it's either like I focus and go to school and like get good grades and cut off these friends for a while, or like I go there and I'm like back gambling with my life type situation.
Right.
My mom and my parents did a good job of just like, they wasn't really, they was always working. So they couldn't really put hands on with me, like, and be where I'm at. And, they're always working. So they did a good job of just breaking it down and giving me like different analogies to really understand, like, how I can lose my freedom messing around in these streets. So it was an easy decision once, back and forth, and it was real serious. Like that third time is like it's like that it's a wrap.
Yeah, either take this or you're gone.
Like
literally,
the next time it's a wrap. That like that quick. Second to third time, it's like next time I see you here again, it's a wrap. So I was like, I don't want to play like that. I'm about to hoop.
Yeah. What was like the biggest adjustment from Florida moving to Georgia? Because those totally two different cultures and environments, I would think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially at a young age like that.
Yeah, super young. The biggest adjustment wasn't really like the state, but the guys that were coming in from the different states. Like, dude coming in from North Carolina, LA, like, dudes coming into that prep school, and I'm looking at like different types of like people from the hood, like, like that was the adjustment, because like we would clash and bump heads, and like something like, somebody might say something to me where I'm from, that's fighting words. You feel me? And where they from, that might be just like,
that's just cool.
It's just cool. So
that ain't how we rock.
That was when you making that adjustment with how to communicate with somebody that's not from where you from, and then you got to do it even now, like as an older adult, you got to be able to communicate in different pockets, and like work with different people from different places, different races, and everything.
It's one of those things to where I don't think people realize when you move to different states and cities, you have to like that adjustment is real. You know what I mean? And especially like about it because you train so many like high school, college pros. Like these kids is moving like 4 times a year to schools. You know what I mean? Which is the craziest thing. How do you feel about that now? Like how these kids is growing up and they just going to different high schools, 4 high schools in 4 years. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I think it's like, I don't agree with it. I think it's just like it doesn't practice commitment. You know what I mean? And like when you commit to something, I understand there's different circumstances and situations, but I feel like the majority of the situations is just lack of toughness and parental like guidance. Like that's just like for the young kids that are doing all of that traveling and stuff like that and going to this school, that school. And honestly, like not to name drop, but I love the CP3 Academy and what y'all do with y'all family is like, it's not like that. It's like, y'all got a really tight niche group and you guys teaching them more, values than just basketball. You feel me? And then when you don't have that, it's a young kids, and I'm sure y'all deal with it all the time. It's like when parents are involved, when this other person trainer or this person involved and stuff like that, it's just hard to like, mentor somebody that been listening to somebody their whole life, but to get to the next level, they got to do things a different way. So, I mean, that's how I feel like it's just lack of mental toughness and parental like guidance on really guiding these kids on making the right decision and sticking to commitment, like, and trying your hardest to make it work versus like, oh, I ain't played it, so I want to transfer.
Some kids are scared of adversity.
Kid came in. New kid came in. He tough. Like, I ain't gonna get enough shots. Now I want to transfer. I ain't doing that well now. Well, now I want. Or this kid killing over there. He like, we killing over here. Like, come rock with us. And now I want to transfer. And you see it a lot. Like that's it's tough. It doesn't help the kids for the future, in my opinion.
Yeah, kids nowadays are kind of scared of adversity and want it right now. Don't really know that you got to go through toughness and, like you said, mental toughness and things of that nature. But now that you are at the point where you are now in life, one, what college did you attend and how were you like that? Was that your mindset in college already, or you had to work to that?
I had to work to that. I wish I didn't transfer, but I went at a prep school. I went to Liberty University with Seth Curry. Was running. Me and him was like one of the top mid-majors recruiting classes, and we had a really great mid-major year. And the adjustment was so tough for me because when I got recruited from prep school, I was like a scoring point guard. And when Seth came into the conference or came into the Big South, and Steph was kind of like killing too as well, like a mid-major. And, Seth had the skill.
That was Lil Chris.
Until I said, what up? Then Seth had the skill, and he was killing in the Big South. And they wanted me to play a point guard. So it was confusing for me because like they wanted me to drive to the rack and look at the rim and like find somebody outside. And like that's how I built my whole package. Like in prep school, I'm getting a layup and then I'm opening up the 3. Then I'm like passing and I'm like playing the game. But when you get to college, it's almost like chess pieces. Like this person does this specific thing for the team to win, and everybody got to play their role. And that was a hard adjustment for me. So I rode the bench, you know what I mean? And I would like take it out on practice and kill the starting point guard. And the starting point guard averaged damn near 0 points and like 10 assists, leading the conference in assists. So, you know, you could tell like just like that guidance, like he had it, I did it. I was nicer. I was nicer. Like nicer than Seth, nicer than those guys. I'll say it. I was nicer. I was hitting Seth, but Seth was stupid nice. But I was nicer than a lot of those guys. But they just knew how to play the game better, and they had better guidance in the game. Remember, I'm a foreign, I'm Haitian, so my parents don't really know what to tell me back. And the guys in the community, they never made it past the community. So they're like, yo, just stay out there, bro. Don't even come back. Like, just stay. Like, and so I don't know how to deal with it. And I'm a young kid at that time. I don't know how to deal with it. So I'm not doing what coach needed me to do. And like, I'm taking it out on the practice and killing them on the scouting team, scoring every time, thinking like that's like gonna make me start or like make them respect me. And it wasn't doing nothing for me. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
It was tough.
Oh, sorry, guys. Theo had to go handle some business. Baby girl started crying. You know what I mean? So he had to back on baby duties. But you know what I mean?
Kids come first, man.
Kids come first. Kids come first. But nah, John, that's crazy you said that, because a lot of things that we talk about on this podcast is how, like, as an athlete or NBA player, college player, whatever the case may be, the biggest thing is knowing your role. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's knowing your role. So at what point, you said you didn't really have a mindset, you rode the bench and things of that nature. What was like, all right, what was that moment for you to where like, oh, I'm trying to hoop? Because you love the game. Don't nobody want to sit on the bench. You know what I mean? So what was that moment for you?
Man, I'm going to be honest, man. I never really, you know, because I transferred, the whole transfer thing, after 2 to 3 years, I transferred from Liberty and I went to Oklahoma City University. And I was there and I still wasn't playing myself really, because like now I'm over there like, oh yeah, I'm going, you know, NAIA. I'm coming from Division I. So I'm like, yo, now, but I went from 3 years of not being that guy that got recruited from, you know, prep school, like the scoring point guard, to like, you know, people backing off of me, leaving me wide open for a shot. Like, and I don't know if I want to shoot it or not. So, you know, like I did all the work, but it's still like I still had a role to play at the NAIA school. So it never, everywhere I transferred to, I transferred to NAIA, I still had to play a role. So it's like I couldn't really run from it, and I didn't really have the guidance. So, you know, I did decent, but I could have did way better. And I never really, you know, went with the concept of knowing the role well. So even then I went to try to go pro, and I went to Mexico and I played 6 months in Mexico, and I was killing, and it was just like much easier for me though. Like I'm playing against like, you know, like it was not that talented. It was like a low level league. They'll pay me $500 sometimes. I think I only got paid $500 one time in 6 months.
And one time in 6 months?
Yeah, like I don't even think it was 500. It was in pesos or something, like 500 pesos.
Sheesh.
So, but I love the game. I was chasing the game. I was playing like on concrete floors, and I was killing, and you know, and that's what I really learned a lot of my marketing skills and like editing skills. And I feel like pros, when they're over there in another country or like by themselves, that's when you got to learn so much. You got to learn how to clean up, take care of your spot, you know, maybe cut your own hair, like, you know, stuff like that. So I started rocking with iMovie and like editing my film because I wanted to get out of there. So I just started editing film and just like putting it on YouTube and trying to like, you know, promote myself and get myself out of there. But that's where I started learning like how to edit. And I think that was a valuable piece to, you know, who I am today, like learning how to edit.
Got you. So at the end of the day, when you was in Mexico, basketball didn't go your way. You know what I mean? But you found something else to help you navigate to stay around the sports industry, right?
Exactly.
you did 6 months in Mexico. And it's like, oh, this is not it. You know what I mean? So let me take it on the content side of things. What was your biggest, like, who was your biggest person, or when did Handle Life Dribble2Much come about? Like, all right, cool, you editing, but like, when did you like really blow up?
Man, so when I went back home from Mexico and I wasn't getting the 500, so I was like, man,
I just play for free. You know what I mean?
You know, everybody on Facebook know I'm a pro, but I ain't getting paid for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm just being 100, man. I wasn't getting it. So I just I had got hurt too, and I went back home and I went and got a job. You know, I was staying with my girl at the time. And I was sleeping on the couch, and like any other dude, hey man, I'm still gonna try to get another job and work out in the morning. But at the same time, like bills gotta be grown, people stuff gotta happen, bills gotta get paid. And I'm trying to chase a dream.
What city? Oklahoma. What state? Oh, you went back to Oklahoma.
I went back to Oklahoma. Yep, I went back to Edmond. I went back to my college that I graduated to and started working out there, training there, and trying to get back healthy and get back in shape. And I was working at Nike. And at Nike, they took me through a whole, training in order to be a Nike employee. And I was at an outlet store. And I remember doing both of them at the same time. I would train in the morning, train late at night, but I would work, mornings to afternoons at Nike. And as I was going through through the training, there was making me understand Bill Bowerman and stuff like that. They had something called Remember the Man, and it was Bill Bowerman. They told the whole story, and I was doing this simultaneously, and I was training in the gym, trying to get back healthy. But kids were coming in the gym, and they was like, "Hey man, can we work out with you?" And I was like, "Cool. I'm not really a trainer, but you can follow the drills that I'm doing." So I started, young kids, probably 11 years old, whatever. So then I'm training, I'm tapping. I'm always stopping, and I'm like, yo, man, this is how you do it to get this. I'm catching myself. And damn near the whole workout in an hour, I only train for 10 minutes myself because I'm over here
trying to critique and help them. You know what I mean? Because they're younger than you.
So I did that for a couple of weeks, and then another kid joined that was a little bit older, and they started recording me on social media themselves. And the drills that I was putting together to get my handle back, they were doing them and put them on social, and they was getting a lot of response from their following and stuff. And it was coach, everybody want to know who my trainer. Man, everybody who follows me likes when I'm training with you. They ask for your Instagram. And I was like, what's Instagram? Downloaded it. The kids will put you on everything, man.
Nah, they really will. They really will, for sure.
And I was like, what's Instagram? I downloaded it. And I was working at Nike at the same time. I downloaded it. And as I was going through the training with Nike, I looked at it and really said, Bill Bowerman is really just a track coach. Nike is this $1 billion thing, but at the end of the day, he was a track coach that wanted to help athletes get better. And that's when it's a good book to read is Shoutout from Nike. Yeah, that was crazy. I love that book. And Bill Bowerman, he's just a track coach that developed the waffle sneaker. It was called Blue Ribbon Sports before. And he developed that to help the kids at Oregon run faster, at Oregon University. So then when I was training these kids, the response I wasn't training them, they was following me. The response the parents was giving me, is my kid is scoring points. They not turning over the ball. They're more confident with their dribble. So and somewhere in my mind, I felt when I was in the middle, I could be Bill Bowerman.
Nah, for sure. I'm helping the kids. I'm training. I'm helping them get to where they need to be. Hey, I'm with you.
I do this. So I wasn't getting paid for it yet, though. So then a parent came to me one day, and his kid was one of the top ranked guards in Oklahoma, and he'd been working out with me for 2 months, and just following my workouts. And I started posting on social media more, and creating my like tag and stuff like that. And the dad gave me $100 and said, my kid is like the top ranked point guard and he got offers everywhere. Keep doing what you're doing with him. And then I was like, cool. The next day he was like, here go another 100. Keep doing this. So I started doing the math of what I was doing at Nike. And I was like, I'm getting $12 an hour.
But I just made $100 for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
An hour. And
an hour.
I was like, or
your
2
math
hours.
was mathing.
An hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your math was mathing.
Hours. And I was like, man, I was like, cool. So I was like, the kids kept bugging me to make an Instagram. So I ended up making one. And I said, I looked at the kids' Instagram. It was all dribbling drills from our workouts. And I was like, damn, I've dribbled way too much. Right? That's the first thing I said when I look at his joint. I'm like, damn, all this dribbling, right? Because I was hurt from Mexico. I couldn't really do anything but work on stationary stuff. So I would just work on the handle and form shots. That's it. So then I said, okay, cool. I'm going to put 2 feet into God and 2 feet into this thing. God, I don't know what I want to do in my life right now. Like I'm stuck in between wanting to recover and go back and play overseas to like work it and trying to please my girl and like pay bills and make her happy and like training these kids where I'm getting a new passion from. I was like, man, I'm going to put 2 feet into this training thing. And I just want you to give me a platform where I can show the whole world that you exist. This is what I prayed for. And, I quit Nike. I tapped all the way into helping the kids. And I took some of the qualities that I learned from training with Nike of like making a brand because, basically they explain to you what the brand is when you go through the training process. So I created a Dribble2Much account. And that was to me like my Jordan and my Nike was Handle Life. And the way I came up with the name Handle Life is I was stuck and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but all I did was work on my handle. So, the first logo, first logo was like orange and blue, and it was like a handle was orange and the blue was the life part. And I said, I'm gonna put them together. Then like I work on my handle every day, and this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life and put 2 feet into God first. And then I was like, put it together, and then it said Handle Life. And that's how I got started.
Dang, that's crazy. That is so crazy. So now you at that point in your life, right? Still trying to figure it out, but you getting there, right? You getting there. Who was that person that like got you there? Like, you know what I mean? Like you figuring it out, but did you have any role models or anything like that pushed you?
Gilbert Arenas was the first NBA client for me. And I know Gilbert get a lot of backlash from the league, but I feel like I was blessed to have him as the first NBA client for myself because the league might not respect Gilbert, but the players respect him like crazy.
Gilbert was cold.
The players.
If you don't respect him, he was cold.
100%. You know what I'm saying? So then when I had him, he was like very into the moves. I would like really time my content. I knew the kids would go to school 9 o'clock in the morning. So I would post a video 9. I know they had lunch and I was just thinking about everything I learned from Nike. I know they go to lunch at 12. So I'm going to have something for them at lunch, like to post something so they could talk about it. Then I'll do like a move and be like, yo, tag a friend, you'll do this. I was like one of the first people to do that. Like then they started tagging friends and then after school, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to give them a challenge drill. After school, they'll be at practice or something. And then I was just like doing that every single day, like consistently. And Gilbert commented on one of the posts and on one of the moves that kind of like caught the algorithm somehow. And then Gilbert commented and it was like, man, I've been working on this move with my trainers in LA for about, the last 2 weeks and I can't get it down pat. And I was like, what? That's exactly how I look, AJ, when he commented. I was like, dog, I'm like, I'm really about to, I'm like, I really am Bill Bowerman.
Yo.
It's like Jordan calling me right now.
Nah, facts. Nah, for real.
So
at what point was this for Gilbert? Like, where was he at? Just when he was wearing like he'll wear Air Maxes, he'll wear like he wore like Dolce Gabbanas. You know what I mean? Giving people like 40.
It was when Gilbert was like trying to go back to the league.
Gotcha. Okay.
He was working out every day, like putting content every day, working out every day. and he flew me out to work out with him.
Mhm.
And this dude, we didn't even work out. All we did was do moves for social media. And then I worked him out a little bit. Then I work him out 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes, we just doing like moves. And I'm recording it for content, like moves, like making up like moves, right? Like crazy moves and making them up and like throwing it up. And everybody's watching it. So, KD's in Oklahoma. KD like end up hitting me up like, hey, yo, what's up, man? Where you from? Where you at? Where you from? And then now it wasn't no DMs at that time. So then I'm like, yo, I'm in Oklahoma, man. I'm gonna be back like, next week. But KD really didn't hit me up for the basketball. He hit me up for the music because at the same time when I was building the brand, I always knew how to rap. And at Nike, they even like coached us on the type of music that's played at certain times of the day to get like a customer to feel in the mood to purchase a product. So it was like that detailed with the marketing.
For real.
Like it's that detailed.
That's why they are who they are.
That's why they are who they are. And I looked at it like myself and I said, you know what? I'm gonna put my music and put all basketball bars behind every video. And I was just like dropping them on SoundCloud. And then KD was really big into music. And he like my songs started going, like people used to always like, who's that rapping? Who's that rapping on every video? And then KD was one of the guys that hit me up personally, like, yo, what's good, man? And then when I talked to him, he was like, yo, I know you could train, I'm cool. Like, but who is that? Whose song is that? I'm trying to tell my boys, like, we trying to find it everywhere. Yeah. And I was like, it was mine. And I was like, it's mine. He was like, that's you. He's like, nah, that ain't you. It's like, if that's you, pull up to the studio tonight and record a song. Right. And then I pulled up Oklahoma, like pulled up to the studio was him, Cliff, a couple of other, his like, Randy, his business manager, everybody there. Engineering, and like he was living in Oklahoma and showed me a $500,000 recording studio. And I was like at an apartment recording on a little like mic, like a little mic.
So you at this point you in heaven when you walk in. You know what I mean?
My mind is really thinking that like the Nike thing is really working.
Nah, for sure.
I'm like, yo, I feel like a lot of success is just tricking your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be consistent or to be successful. So I was just consistent with it. And then we recorded a song that same night and I got on the mic and then I just like ripped the whole joint up. And then like, he was just like, we recorded like 18 songs and we started having a relationship like this.
Yep.
And then I worked him out. He flew me to LA. I was working him out in LA. And then like he talked to Gilbert about my workouts and stuff and moves and stuff. Mm-hmm. Then Nate Robinson hired me. And then from there, DeMar DeRozan hired me. And then it was like on and popping from there.
It's a trickling effect.
Yeah. Yep. Like word of mouth, but with a little bit of social media proof behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's crazy because me and Theezy talk about this on our podcast a lot. Of course, we talk about everybody's journeys and things of that nature. Like Theo made it to the league. But for me, like my journey, I stayed in the sports industry. One, because I'm blessed enough to have a cousin who I have. But two, I had to build relationships. You know what I mean? So like talk about how important networking is, building relationships, being a genuine person. You know what I mean? Because you said you went from Gilbert, you went to KD. You could have been an asshole and then everything could have went left. But you know what I mean? You was a genuine person. Yeah. So tell me how that affects, like how was that for you? You know what I mean? How did you build those relationships and things of that nature?
Man, I had
outside of social media.
Yeah, 100%. I had to learn. It was a process, man. Like, cause it's all about how the way you carry yourself. Like, like how you treat, the janitor and how you treat somebody who's popping. It's like people pay attention to like how you treat other people, like, and people who are successful, it doesn't matter anybody. But when I built my relationship with my players and everybody, I just always wanted to be solid and really lock into the craft. So I really didn't like go out. Like if, a player invited me, yo, I got this event at this club, I'm popping up, I'm not going. I'm like chilling. I'm locked in because I want them to take me seriously and know that I'm like really invested into my craft. And I feel like the best relationships is when both parties don't really need anything from each other. They're helping each other. They're just a value. They're not taking away. Like one person is not here just taking. You know what I mean? And my college coach used to always ask us, like, you either going to be a giver or you're going to be a taker. Like that's what he said.
That's real.
Yeah,
that's
you
real.
know what I mean? So I was like, and like you either like giving or like you're like always taking away, taking. So I always like was conscious about that. And I didn't want to be the guy, the homeboy that I pull up to the club. You know, I'm training them, but then I pull up to the club and I'm drinking, you know, bottles with them. And then, you know, I just really stayed away from that. And I built like real relationships to like work ethic and like value, like how much value I add to their life and their game. You know, that's how I built a relationship. And it was very important because word of mouth is still the best marketing engine on the planet. You know, word of, you know, it's still heavy and it's not just all about social media. So, you know, I built relationships and trust with my clients, like just being a solid individual and just focusing on what kind of value that I can bring into them. And that's like my key to building every relationship.
No, that's real. That's real. So now, you know what I mean? How do you balance? I want to know, how do you balance your time? And at what point did you have to be like, all right, rapping is something that I do love, but pretty much, you know, like dribbling, handle life, these clients is where the money at, where it was like making where the bills is being paid. How do you balance that? And what was that point like, all right, I do love to rap, but I can't put all my stuff in rapping. How do you balance that? You know what I mean?
That's a great question, man. And now I've been on a lot of interviews and not a lot of people ask me that. It's just like, it was tough because I was really good at it and I was training rappers too. And I would see like the lifestyle and I could see like what I can get, you know what I mean? Like of being being nice at it. And I thought, and I felt, and I had confidence in it. So, you know, like even though that I knew that my brand really grew from dribbling my ball and training clients, but music is something that I had to learn how to monetize it the right way. And it's still something that like I gotta like balance it properly because when, you know, nowadays people can do multiple things, but you still gotta be good at one thing. Like if we go back to playing a role and being a piece on the table that does this move, you on the floor, you in the game. You know what I'm saying? So like I like well, the way I balance that music and like basketball is training is the centerpiece of everything. You know, like music and basketball is the things that go around it. And the way I monetized it is I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do music about basketball and use that as like the music behind my content. And I end up getting an NBA 2K deal like from doing that. And I was on NBA 2K the last 7 years licensing music to them because they like loved the music that I was using on my basketball training videos. And that's how I got on the game. And, you know, I still, the thing that I still have to balance is like, cause I still want to be respected as like a real artist because I work on it hard. But but the way I like introduce it should be through like basketball training videos. Like if I'm doing like a drill challenge, I could throw my song in there, tell the kids to do it, boom, boom, and I could introduce it. But a little bit of like, you know, that just takes discipline, like of staying focused in the lane, a little bit of me like still wants to show people that I can do more. And I think everybody always feels like that. Even the person on the NBA team, like that is the shooter in the corner, he still feel like he could do a little more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
that's real.
But there's a that like what you asked, that balance is what the people who are different is who understand the balance and the focus. You know what I mean? And that's the toughest thing.
We always say over here, like my family, we always say, keep the main thing the main thing. You know what I mean? A lot of people like fuck up because they forget what got them there. You know what I mean? You basketball or training got you there, but then they'll go out and try to do something else and then don't even work out no more or don't lift no more. You know what I mean? So we always say keep the main thing the main thing. You know what I mean? That's super important. But since we on like the music topic and things of that nature, how did the whole Dame collab come around?
Man, so I end up like licensing a lot of records to NBA2k, and I was doing it myself. I would literally go on Instagram Live, and I'll say, "Yo, if you're a producer, send me a beat," and I'll just go through the beats, and pick the best beat I like. I'll rap on it. I'll submit it to 2K, and they'll end up liking it and picking it up. But I didn't want to go like get any big producers. I just was like doing it with the community, and I thought that was tough. Like a kid who produced a nice beat, you would never get a chance. And I felt like that was tough. Like, and then he get on 2K, like from just like being a fan of mine. That's like, so I was enjoying doing that a little bit. So I started getting a name, and my records started to stream over like 30 million streams on Spotify and also like Apple Music. And then I ended up signing a distribution deal with Empire, which is a major distribution label. And I kind of did a really good deal with them. And I started like submitting music, and I wanted to give 2K a different look. And I was just really trying to like just stay in my basketball lane. And Dame was really crushing, his music career with like songs and like kind of like putting out music, and I loved it. And I was like, all right, cool. Me and Dame had conversations that like we met at Adidas photo shoots and like content creation shoots for his sneaker. And he always admired the music that I was putting out on the back end. And he told me that one time, and he always admired like the ball handling, but he was not a media guy. So like when I first met him, it's like, you cool, but like, don't think you gonna record me.
Right. Right.
So that's the attitude. That's the attitude Dame gave me. Like, I know you recording all the other dudes, like,
hey,
but like, Dame is real. Like,
he gonna keep it real. Keep it real with
real
you.
Cutthroat. Like, he doesn't want to do nothing the Wave is doing. Like, and I was the Wave when it came to training. So he never really, he never really tapped in. We tapped in later, but he never tapped in at that time. But he still kept a relationship with me, and I would send him like different songs, and he never really replied and stuff like that. He would like every now and then hit me with this. I know these guys' schedule is crazy anyway, so I don't take it personal. But I would just send him work all the time, and I kept getting better, kept getting better, kept getting better. Then boom, he see me on the NBA2k. So I'm not just like sending the work to like, do a collab with you. I'm also working on the back end, closing deals on 2K, distribution deals. I'm still working, and he's seeing that. And a lot of the times for somebody to help you, they got to just see you working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they see you working, it makes it organic. So then I sent him a slap one time, and then he replied back, and he was like, bro, this song is crazy. And he was like, I'm going to have this verse done for you by the night. And I was like, that's what I said.
Dang. Hey, I know that feeling was crazy.
I was like, word. I was like, cool. Sent the verse in. He did his verse, and I really wanted to keep him on the topic of like, when you say like the main thing, I kept him on the basketball topic, and I feel like Dame gave me the best verse he ever wrote, because it was all about his like life story about coming up through basketball when he was younger, and like how he got drafted and the things he had to deal with, through being a young basketball hooper growing up. And I put him on that kind of record, and he killed it. And I really appreciate Dame Dollar for that, man. Thank you for Handle Life Story, my brother.
Man, shout out to Dame. Dame a real one for sure.
Hey, but outside of
he a real one for sure. Outside of basketball and Handle Life and things like that, you also got a life. You know what I mean? I know you're a family man, married, kids, and things of that nature. What does your day-to-day look like?
Man, I wake up in the morning early every day. I work out. I try to stay very consistent with it. I try to be consistent with being in my prayers and in touch with my mom and my family. And then, I gotta be consistent. Then you got the family and the kid. Then you got the business. As an entrepreneur, is just your day-to-day is full every single day when you're trying to build a business. And I know you guys know that. And it's just like I gotta wear so many hats. Like when, I could be training Chris Paul 6 a.m. in the morning because he gonna get up early. And then I got DeMar DeRozan coming consistently at like, 7:30 right after Chris. And then, I got like Kobe White coming in at 9:30. And then, I got, like back-to-back clients coming in, and then that stops. then I have the kids. Then I'm training the kids. And, you know, back to back, like I'm training from 5 to like 9 o'clock. Then I have like Zoom and business meetings because I'm trying to build a brand that I could monetize through my following. So social media is, you know, a job too, you know, that I got to continue to get better at. And that, because that's how I'm going to pay the bills with endorsements and stuff like that and monetizing like, you know, my page. So then I got like build a team and like, you know, manage people in that and tell them the vision, because at the end of the day, they could be helping me do something and know it really well. But at the end of the day, I'm the face on it. So like, I know it more than everybody. So I'm really hands-on and involved with that. Then I got music with producers and like other writers that want to collab and other artists and producers. And I got to be in the studio late night. So from like 10 to like 1 in the morning, I'm in the studio, like, and I'm like cooking up like beats, rapping and doing all of that kind of stuff. And then I need a little bit of like, you know, like loving, like personal time with the family and stuff. And that's the hardest thing to balance, because, you know, when you like grinding and you chasing a dream, it's just, it's so hard to balance like that personal time. Cause when you're in entrepreneur mode, and I think that's like something that is important with balance, is like you just focusing on building that business, like where you want it to be. And what I'm learning now is just like spending time with the family is part of building that business. You know what I mean? For mentally, like mental health. You know, like you'll catch people like be snapping, CEOs be snapping on people out of anywhere. It's doing this and doing that. And like they not moving proper. And everybody like that's under them, and the company falls because the CEO is not well balanced. And I'm just like seeing, you know, the effects of that is like, it could really tear down the business. So I'm just trying to get better at being focused on family, focused on Kobe John and my son, you know, making sure I'm putting them as priority, because at the end of the day, if the house ain't put together, then like your business is not going to be put together. So that's something like that. Now that I'm a little bit older and wiser, and I have a good group of, you know, people that I can talk to for advice and stuff, I know how important it is for that balance between family and business.
Nah, for sure. That's real. That's real. It's crazy because I want to know, you got a son, right? And we talked about earlier how growing up in basketball is totally different from how you grew up, how I grew up, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? With a son now, you know what I mean? How important is it to be that father that's like, all right, you have to play basketball, or just let your son pick and choose? Like, you know what I mean? What do you want to do? Because you dribble too much. He see that. You know what I mean? That's some big shoes to fill. You know what I mean? But how do you handle that as a father?
Like if I be 100, it's almost a little bit of manipulation for the right reasons, though. I feel like if you really want your kid to be locked in and teach them like tools to help them, you have to manipulate them in a way. It's the real stuff. Sure. Like you have to say, like, if you touch that stove, it's gonna burn your hand, even if it's not on. You will tell your son that, like, so he don't go playing with that joint and put his hand on the stove. But you know, like, you know, and as he grows and grows and grows and go get older, he'll know how to turn the stove on. But you really try to protect him. So with my son, I just like really try to show them that I'm working every single day. Like every time he see me, I'm working, I'm moving, I'm working. And I'm really trying to show him like that work is work. Like you got to be able to work and be consistent and be dedicated to something and be good at it. And every time he asks me where I'm going, I say I'm going to the basketball court. I could be taking out the trash. I'm like, I'm about to go to the basketball court, man.
Yeah, nah.
So now he be like, Daddy, I want to go to the basketball court.
I want to go to the basketball court. Let me go to the court with you. All right, let's go. Come on. Let's go.
You know, so, you know, that's my own like little parenting. But at the end of the day, I know there's freedom involved where, you know, I'm going to support him on anything that he want to do. But I'm going to use that as a tool of him wanting to love me and be with me. I'm always working, him coming into my work. I feel like I can teach him a lot of tools from like discipline and like work ethic and teamwork and stuff like that that'll carry out through his whole life and not just basketball. So that's how, like if he gets good at it, it's great. But he so wants to be like under daddy that now he wants to play basketball. And the way I handle it is if he's good at it, he's great. But like I'm not like forcing him, but he's just wanted to do what dad does. But I gotta keep him around what dad does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. That's real. That's real. Last question before we get out of here, you know what I mean? We got a really great relationship, you know what I mean? And one thing I know about you is you love giving back. You know, sir. Outside of you being the influence on Instagram, the Dribble2Much in the world to everybody, you also got an AAU organization, you know what I mean, where you help kids. And you also just don't train NBA stars. You also train kids that's coming up trying to be the next Chris Paul, trying to be the next DeMar DeRozan. You know what I mean? So now you're living in LA. What got you to that mindset to like, all right, I am who I am, but I still have to give back. And now this is how I want to give back. And how's that been going for you?
It's just like legacy, man. You know, being able to like build a legacy and build something meaningful to stick around. When I really think about my community center, like I feel like, you know, if I had more resources in my community center, it would give me more guidance on how to handle playing my role in college. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like being able to give back to the game at a young age, I'm able to teach them about my mistakes. And I also can help them with the skill development on the things that they need to work on and play the game the right way. So it's just really important. It's just really important to me to really keep the game alive because that's the thing that saved my life. And if that could save another kid's life from having to make a decision if you want to hoop or like go back to this, like the more exciting the game is, the more easy it is to learn and like grab onto, the more people are playing the game because of me. And I feel like I'm just helping save the world at the same time.
Nah, that's real. That's real. That's real. Well, Johnny, I appreciate you for taking the time out. You know what I mean? You're my guy. I'm sure we're going to be talking and seeing you soon. Taking Carter to practice, look somebody to practice and things of that nature. Pulling up might be helping you coach Jaden, you know what I mean?
Let's go. Pull up.
Nah, for sure. I'm gonna definitely pull up when I find some time for sure. But
we need to put Cam on that team. Let her get some buckets.
Hey, Cam actually just got back from practice. Cam is the kids is getting tall, bro. Little Chris is tall. Cam, they
you know what I really like about you, like a lot. Like how I see you involved in the kids and involved in the family is just like you keep it so real with them and like you tell them the truth and you don't like sugarcoat it with them. You just really tell them the truth and give them the real stuff. And those kids like, so I want to ask you like how Chris doing? Like how little Chris doing?
How little Chris doing? And little Chris just made
because you a tough cookie. If AJ say you nice, you really nice for real. Because him and Big Chris, you gotta.
You know, me and little Chris, we be butting heads. We'll go back and forth, but I'm proud of him, bro. Like he just made top 20 in at Chris camp the other week. You know what I mean? That was his goal. That was his goal to make top 20. And he did it, and he was cooking. He was cooking. Yeah, he was cooking,
That's
bro.
Good, man. I love to hear that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, AJ. It's love, man. I'm glad to hear everything's working, bro.
But thank y'all for tuning in for another episode. You know, thank y'all for tuning in for another episode. We got Dribble2Much on here. Thank you again, bro, for everything. Follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. This is a great one, bro, and I really appreciate you.
All day. Thank you, AJ, man. You guys have a great one and Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, bro. Appreciate you.